Later today, we ended up getting an update for Call of Duty Black Ops 4 as part of the course. We usually end up getting an update on Tuesdays, and as of recently, they've just been for playlist updates, but we have had some things thrown in the mix that have been changed and adjusted as well, and today was one of those cases where we ended up seeing that we had a playlist update, then we got another one that kind of adjusted some game settings a few hours later, but overall, we got a lot to talk about, which is kind of surprising because going into today, I thought that honestly we'd only see a featured playlist change, but we ended up seeing a couple of things added in as a result of today's update. So we're gonna break it down, everything that really changed here that you guys need to know about in this one. So let's jump into it. Let's start out at the beginning, the things that were very first visible here within Black Ops 4. The first thing that you may have ended up seeing was that when you jump in to the main menu of Black Ops 4, you have of course your standard multiplayer Blackout and Zombies, to which the featured playlist actually was changed out now to Team Tactical, and Blackout was changed over to Quads, which previously was gun game as well as solos as of the past week, but changed out now so that you have something brand new here. But Team Tactical is actually a brand new addition within Black Ops 4, and we haven't seen this for many years. A lot of you OG players may remember this, but a lot of you guys that may be newer to the game as the past couple of years may not recognize this. What we end up having within Team Tac is a little different than that of what we saw back in the day with Team Tactical, but it's a mosh pit of game modes featuring teams of 3v3. So you end up having TDM, Search and Destroy, and then Kill Confirmed, all within one mosh pit. They're on the maps Frequency, Gridlock, Arsenal, Icebreaker, Firing Range, Summit, Slums, and Contraband, so not every single one is listed, but you do have the ability to play on those specific maps and in a lot smaller and tight-knit group of who you end up playing against. Now, as with team-based featured playlists, you're probably gonna come into a lot of hardcore players within this. Granted, it's only parties of 3 that you can end up having here. It can be something as what a lot of people may call very sweaty. Bear that in mind, that's what we're gonna have available for the next week, but it's very cool to see this come back. I know that I think it was available in Modern Warfare Remastered, but then before that, the last time we had it was Ghosts, and then before that was Modern Warfare 3. So it's been around the block, but not as of recently. So for you guys that may be brand new to the franchise, you can end up taking part in a newer version of a classic game mode. Now, as for other featured game modes, Gun Game is actually still in the game. It was not taken out of rotation. It's still in the featured tab, but not that main focused featured playlist for this week. You also still have Mercenary Chaos Mosh Pit, as well as Mercenary Hardcore Mosh Pit for those of you solo players that really still want to just grind out the game, but don't want to go up against 3, 4, 5-man teams. The next thing that was discovered here out of this playlist update before patch notes even went live, we're a little bit with Blackout, because we ended up seeing that we now have multiple more characters added into Blackout, or at least that their quest lines have been unlocked and you can now end up getting them. Previously, we ended up seeing that the rest of multiplayer specialists were available for unlock. You had to get the certain specific task out of the way and then you unlocked those specialists within Blackout. But now we've moved over into some of the Zombies characters. The Chaos Crew is now available for unlock, that being Bruno, Diego, Scarlet, and Shaw. As of right now, a lot of these are still unknown as to how to do them. I've seen one listed as knock an enemy down with a headshot for, I think it was Diego. Scarlet, I think you have to pick up an item out of a supply stash or out of a zombie drop and then run somebody over with a vehicle. And as for Bruno and Shaw, I haven't heard anything on them just yet, but those of course are still preliminary. I don't think that I've seen any guides or anything like that or anybody talking about how they've unlocked them to confirm that 100%, but those are available for unlock now. But also in Blackout, if you end up going over to Asylum and Graveyard, you might notice there's something a little bit different. If you're somebody that loves the thrill of trying to kill zombies while also taking out some enemies in Blackout, so you can end up getting whatever in the mystery box, usually a level 3 armor, a sniper, or an LMG of some sorts, or a kitted out rifle. If you want to take that challenge to the next level, what you can end up doing is going over to Asylum and or Graveyard. Sometimes it won't spawn in immediately, sometimes it will spawn a regular zombies round at Asylum, to which once that's completed, it will move up to Graveyard, but also sometimes it spawns immediately at Graveyard, the Blightfather. For those of you guys that remember back within the beta of Blackout, this was something that was added in for I think 2 days or so, in which instead of a blue light going into the sky denoting the mystery box, it's a red light, and it's actually a zombie boss. It's the Blightfather from 9, the zombies map within one of the Chaos Crew story missions within Black Ops 4, and what was available with the base version of the game, but you end up having the ability to kill this, and this thing is honestly a tank. I put so many shots into this so many times, and honestly, man, I got so close on so many occasions only to be cleaned up by one guy who had like one kill that was sitting off in the distance or something like that. But it's something that this will definitely take a lot of time to do solo, and based on what I've seen for the rewards, it seems like it's more so suited to do in a duos or quad match with your squad. Because when you end up killing this, from what I've seen, again, it could vary. I saw that there was a ray gun dropped, I saw that there were 2 level 3 armors dropped, 2 fully kitted out rifles, and 2 fully kitted out sniper rifles. So there's obviously a lot that was dropped here from this, and it's definitely an improvement from what we saw with the beta, because back in the beta, you only got some things that were normal out of the mystery box, like a level 3 armor and 1 kitted out weapon. It seems like the rewards have been greatly increased, which is absolutely fantastic, but go with that at your own risk and peril. If you can end up cleaning up some kills early on and getting the entire zone to yourself, I think you have a good chance. But if it's something where the zone is gonna move off of Graveyard and Asylum after even, say, the first or second zone, you might have a tough time completing it, but go at it if you want and maybe reap the benefits. The final thing that was announced before the actual patch notes went live deals with something actually coming up this weekend, which is gonna be really cool. Instead of a double XP weekend, we actually get something I'm sure a lot of you guys are very interested in, that being a double tier boost and double Nebulium Plasma for Black Ops 4 weekend. That's gonna start this Friday, November 9th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and go until Monday, November 12th at the same time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you get 3 full days to rank through your tiers, twice as fast, and if you're a zombies player, get as much Nebulium Plasma as you possibly can. I'm all for this as long as this is something that actually happens on a regular basis. I think this will help to expedite the process of naturally grinding through your contraband stream, which towards the beginning of whenever this was released, I was very worried, as you guys probably know if you saw any of the videos. I wasn't a big fan of how it was handled, but it is something that right now, if this happens more than one time every 3 months, I think this might be a counterbalance to that in some aspect. Of course, don't get me wrong, I'm still not a huge fan of how it's been carried out, but it at least is a nicer thing added in. But now, late into the night, we ended up seeing that Treyarch finally put up the update notes for this update that we got earlier in the day, and it was honestly surprising how much is actually in this update. Because when we take a look at it, we had a lot of things in relation to weapon balancing, but more so on the Blackout end. A lot of this update actually really focused on Blackout more so than anything else. While there was some stability things that were improved with multiplayer as well as zombies, we ended up seeing the bulk of this update and the notes that came out of it relating to Blackout. So along with this, again, it ends up mentioning that we did get these Zombies Chaos storyline character missions now available. Then we ended up seeing that we had weapon tuning in relation to submachine guns, assault rifles, the tactical rifles, as well as LMGs. So this is something that for the SMGs, all SMGs had the muzzle velocity increased. That's something that should now make the gunfights a little more consistent compared to where they were beforehand, and allows them to be a little bit more powerful than that of what they were previously, and better suit close quarters play compared to where they were beforehand. The Spitfire in particular also had a slight adjustment here in which it reduced the recoil in Blackout only. Assault rifles, the Rampart 17 was adjusted where it reduced the ADS sway and reduced the recoil, which honestly I think will make the weapon more manageable and usable, because that was probably my least favorite rifle by far within Blackout. Anytime I saw it, I'd probably honestly take a pistol over it beforehand, but now it seems like it's worth giving a shot. The Auger DMR had an increase to the recenter speed, which will allow you to get, of course, more precise shots off. It allows you to get back to center after each of the shots, so that recoil sends it up, but the recenter speed is when it comes back down to where you were aiming. So that was something that they adjusted that speed and it made it a little bit faster. Plus they also increased the muzzle velocity, so it should be able to make for a little more predictable when shooting and actually anticipating when your shot will hit. The Swordfish was another weapon that was adjusted. It tightened the spread pattern and should allow for more shots to land on target. The LMGs had the Titan buffed a little bit where it increased the recenter speed. It also reduced the recenter pattern, which offsets for more predictable recoil. The VKM and the Hades had the same exact adjustments here as well, slightly buffing the overall LMG qualities across the board. The big thing here though with this, and one that I didn't notice until I read it out, but it totally makes sense because I have not seen it at all, is that the 9-bang was removed from Blackout. The 9-bang being probably one of the most problematic things here within Blackout, and even still a big problem for multiplayer and how it should be adjusted and tuned, if at all, depending on who you ask, was completely removed while they end up reevaluating where it should be in the gameplay loop. They also ended up adjusting the concussion as a sort of balancing act here with this, where it increased the throw distance and also allows you to stack 2 of them before taking up another inventory slot. So obviously, as you can see, some pretty big changes to Blackout as a whole. Whereas we didn't see an actual title update that would change some of the properties of it, we did see this snuck in the loop here with this playlist update that went live earlier today. And one little small fun tidbit to mention here is that it's definitely interesting to note that we now fully know that Blackout as well as multiplayer have completely different tunings for weapons. So we now start to see multiple schisms in how the weapons work across different variations, such as the console versus PC split, then plus Blackout and multiplayer splitting even further. So it's interesting to see how this will be handled and how we see this tracked throughout the year. It might even get tough later on down the line to see just what is good where and what was adjusted on what platform and so on. So interesting to see that kind of stuff happen. But as for the multiplayer stuff, that just comes down to, again, what we covered earlier in the video, the new playlists that were added in. Zombies had, again, a bunch of stability fixes and a bunch of gameplay fixes for crashes and issues that would always happen and persist if you were a Zombies player. So again, the big focus here with this in terms of things that you can actually check out are in Blackout, but that's where we're at now with this. Again, a very surprise update, so that's where we're gonna wrap it up. Hopefully this helped keep you in the loop and let you know what's going on within Black Ops 4. I certainly wasn't expecting something of this stature whenever I woke up and got a playlist update for Black Ops 4, but I'm happy with the changes here, especially being somebody that loves Blackout. So that said, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below. If you're also new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 4, multiplayer, Blackout, zombies, all that good stuff. We got you covered with the best of tips, tricks, news, information, best class setups, updates, information, all that good stuff. We got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected from outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to check those out, links are in the description below. But that said, hopefully you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. Take care and peace.